Now, the former Rushcliffe MP, Ken Clarke's been in the news today because he's been giving evidence at a thing called the Infected Blood Inquiry. This is about the 3,000 people who died after being given blood products containing HIV and hepatitis C in the 1970s and the 80s. But as late as November 1983, the government said it was not conclusively proven that HIV could be transmitted through blood products. Today is the first day of 3 days of evidence focused on Lord Clarke's time as health minister in the early days of the scandal. And this morning he was talking to the inquiry. He said he wasn't responsible for blood products whilst he was in that role.
Blood products was something that hardly ever came across my desk. I mean, obviously, as the tragedy with the haemophiliacs began to develop, I was aware it was there. And as you know, I'd from time to time, usually at my own instigation, got on the edge of it. But I didn't call meetings on. I was never the minister directly responsible for blood products. I was never asked to take a decision on blood products. I never intervened to take a decision on blood products.
Well, the inquiry also heard about a blood donation leaflet which was circulated to the public at the time. It was aimed at trying to discourage those who were at high risk of contracting AIDS to not donate blood. Lord Clarke was asked by lead counsel Jenny Richards about his involvement in that leaflet.
Why, as Minister for State for Health, were you involving yourself in the detail, not just of the content of the leaflet, but its method of distribution?
To avoid panic breaking out, encouraged by silly season stories in the newspapers. The panic I was particularly concerned about was anything that put off people volunteering to be blood donors and anything that caused patients to be reluctant to take blood transfusions. Also, as a secondary consideration, I didn't want to feed homophobia.
Well, Suresh Vaghela is a severe haemophiliac who is infected with hepatitis C and HIV and has been campaigning since he became aware of contamination issues in the 90s. Hello, Suresh. Afternoon to you.
Oh, hello, Andy.
So how's your health at the moment?
The health is not bad at all. It's manageable. I mean, it's a challenge on a day-to-day basis, but it's much better than what it was.
And when did you first realise something had gone wrong during the sessions where you were taking blood?
Well, it was when it was early part of my university days when I got a phone call from the hospital to say that we did a blood test which I wasn't aware of, and they said that we found some anomalies, and before you know it, they said, oh well, just get your papers in order, and you've only got a few months to live, and that was in 1983-84.
Oh my goodness, I can't imagine what that must have been like. You got your whole life ahead of you at that point, and you thought, because medical professionals were telling you, your life was about to be over.
Absolutely. I mean, our lives were in the medical. I mean, being a haemophiliac, I mean, you have one blood family, and then you've got the one family, which is the hospital, and you rely on their advice and the guidance. And won't be told to know that the treatment that you'd been given was below par, was a difficult pill to just sort of swallow.
And when did you realise it was a contaminated blood product that was the reason behind this? Did you realise that straight away?
No, not at all. I mean, I just thought, as anything, it's just bad luck, and these things happen to people. But as time went on, and we started sort of talking to other haemophiliacs, that's when we realised that the events that unfolded were all they could be managed better, and we could have reduced the amount of suffering, but. It's up to the government to take the right steps, and unfortunately, those reins weren't pulled in when they should have been.
So what do you want to hear? During this inquiry, with the evidence of people like Lord Clarke of Rushcliffe at the moment, what do you want to hear from these people?
We just want them to be honest. I mean, Lord Clarke's evidence today, I mean, is more frustrating than anything else, because even a simple question wasn't answered in a straightforward manner, and it's frustrating. And all we want the government to say was that we tried our best. I mean, these were the options that were available, but it just seems to be that any kind of question is difficult to answer. And for the haemophiliacs and the affected, the families, I mean, they just want a simple answer to say that, things didn't go according to plan, and we could have done better. But there's nothing of that sort coming forward.
I suppose the difficulty is, at the time, nobody knew, did they? Nobody knew that this was happening. No,
nobody knew, but there were signs. I mean, if you take into account the hepatitis, they knew that it was non-A, non-B. So you don't have to wait to see the fire. If you see the smoke, I mean, that's enough of an indication to say that we've got to take steps. And none of those steps were taken. I mean, all these issues developed since the war. So I mean, it's not as if the expertise and managing these issues weren't there, but it's how much importance you kind of lay on them. And HIV came along, but I mean, they had years to practice as to how it should be handled. And from the word go, it just wasn't managed as effectively and as efficiently as it should have been.
And over the years, how you sort of suggested you'd had much worse health than you have now. So how has it affected your life?
Well, I mean, because of the HIV, the Hep and the Hep C, my liver's cirrhosis. So I'm waiting for they're constantly sort of checking for cancers and cirrhosis, which I have got. I had to have a splenectomy, but my knees, because the liver's not producing enough factor or as working as effectively it should do, the number of bleeds have increased. So I mean, more or less, I'm housebound. I'm stuck in. Doesn't matter how much, what lovely surroundings you are, but if you can't enjoy the life that you have, I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you are. So I mean, on a day-to-day basis, I'm on enormous painkillers and stuff, and that's just to get me through the day. So as with the effect that it's had an enormous effect. It's crippled my life and certainly crippled the lives of all the other haemophiliacs, and it's taken away good friends and family. And my brother passed away when he was 32 of AIDS. So it's taken away really, really close members of our family and friends.
Suresh, thank you for joining us on BBC Radio Nottingham. Suresh Vaghela, who is looking just for answers, really, just clear, straight answers from this inquiry, the inquiry which Lord Clark has been answering questions with today.